talk a good game, and it's the preview of Astra against West Ham United in the playoff round of the Europa League qualifiers. There we go, we've got it there. West Ham United are just 180 minutes away from qualifying for the Europa League group stages, which would be a fairly remarkable thing to bring to the Olympic Stadium in our first season there. I'm Gio from Hammers Chat. We've got Jason and Tom with me as well. We're not going to be discussing the Chelsea game. If you've tuned in for that, you're on the wrong video. We've done a review. It's on our channel, youtube.com/Hammers Chat. And make sure you subscribe to our channel while you're here so you do not miss a thing. We've got loads of content coming out, including a review on Thursday's game straight after full time. Tom, is revenge on the cards for you on this one?
Revenge is definitely on the cards. Got a bigger squad, we're taking it more seriously, and this is our time to shine. We are away, which is maybe a slight issue, but it's also a good thing if we can nab the away goal first leg and know what we have to do second leg. So it's fully on the cards, and I'm raring to go for Thursday night.
Is there no excuses this time, Tom? Last year, it was a new squad for Bilic. He thought the squad wasn't ready. He was probably correct, actually, in hindsight. Disappointed as I was going out last year, he was probably correct. This year, there's excuses off the table. All cards on the table now. You need to go for this, Slav.
Yeah, no excuses whatsoever. It needs to be done. I've banged on about it. I know you have. I know Gonzo wasn't so keen on it at the end of last year, but we've banged on it for a while now that it has to happen, and he has to take it seriously. He has a lot of pressure, I guess, this year to live up to expectations of doing well in this competition as long as we get through this round. And the only thing I can see is hindering us doing well is injuries, and will really test how deep our squad is over the coming weeks and months. Just how good we are, but revenge is certainly on the cards, and I see no issue with us getting through to the next round.
Jason, do you fear them at all? We probably never heard of them last year. This year we know fine well who they are because of last year. But is there a little bit of you a bit scared, or are you? Well, Tom sounds very confident, or do you just say it's him?
Yeah, I think it's a different season. It's a different story going into it now. I mean, last time around, we had a completely changed side, 11 players sort of shoehorned in. We were just sort of like, look, let's just focus on the Premier League. But this season around, we're like, we're here to give the Europa League a proper go. We're going to try and get through to these group stages. And I think the knock-on effect from that, once we qualify to get into these group stages, it could have a detrimental effect on who else we might be able to bring in the transfer market going forward as well. So, I mean, it's going to give us some more money. It's going to give us Europa League exposure. It's going to give us more of a brand worldwide as well. So I think it can only be for the best that we give it a really good go.
It's that prestige that comes with the Europa League, Jason, exactly what West Ham are missing right now in the transfer market when they were going for that top striker. They struggled to get him. Do you think if we were in the Europa League last year might have helped get a few over the line?
I definitely couldn't see it hurting. I mean, the lure of silverware and the chance to go to all these exotic locations. I mean, you know, maybe not so much Romania, Slovenia, but once you get past the group stages and you get through to the knockout rounds, because you also get the teams from the Champions League that get knocked out in the third place bit. So there could be potential trips to, you know, the Italy, you know, the Bayer Leverkusens, the Schalkes, the Napolis, and so on and so forth. And that could be very exciting for a player looking to try and make a name for themselves and to sort of establish themselves as a worldwide sort of reputation for, you know, like say a worldwide striker. But we can't take Astra Giurgiu for any mugs going into this as well. I mean, we saw with Domjali, they did sort of threaten us at points as well. So they've got this experience and they've got the know-how to deal with the Europa League, which we don't quite have yet.
They might have the experience and know-how. They've also got an advantage, Tom, don't they? We've just played on Monday night at Stamford Bridge, which is a very tough place to go to take out on the players. And then 3 nights later, they're playing in Romania. That cannot be the. Could there be a worst case scenario in terms of preparation for this game?
Probably not, especially after last night's performance, and especially the injuries now to Ayew as well. And this is you know the double-edged sword of the Europa League. You know, you could have a crushing loss on a Monday night to Chelsea, get a few players injured, and then you find yourself 3 days later you're having to travel out to Romania. But we've signed all these wingers and all these players that can play in different positions now, and I would hope that there will be some fresh faces playing Thursday night. Obviously, we'll get onto the team in a minute, but there will be fresh faces playing, and that we'll be excited to stand out and show up.
Well, let's talk about the team. But before we do that, let's tell you about the referee, as per normal in our previews. Yes, I know you're thinking, no, he's not done it again, has he? I have. It's the Portuguese referee, Artur Diaz. I've never heard of him, obviously, but he referees a lot of high-profile games by the looks of it. He refereed Ireland against Holland for the Euro, the friendly before the Euros that they played each other, and he refereed that one. But he does like cards. It's a long, long time since he's won a game without any cards. He dished out yellows, and at one point last season, he went 4 or 5 games in a row with handing out red cards. So if there's a guy that's going to send someone off, it could very well be this one. Now let's get on to the team, because I think this is the big talking point. I think this is the one. I'd be very surprised if every West Ham fan can agree on their starting 11 for Thursday night, giving all that's going on, giving Stamford Bridge, given our injuries, looking at the kids that's got potential talent. Are they ready enough? Do we throw them in at the deep end in Romania and say, go on then, show us what you've got? Jason, what do you do? Well, let's start with your defence, if you like. Who are you playing in, who would you like to see at the back for West Ham on Thursday night?
I'd definitely like to see Reece Oxford get another round in the team again. Well, we saw how assured he was in his performance against Domžale. His age belies him. He's got his head, brain mentality-wise, he's so switched on to the game, and I thought he put in a really good performance. And I think he definitely deserves a bit more of a run out, especially during these kind of games, to give him that exposure to blood him in. I also thought Mazaku also was fairly solid during the Chelsea game as well. I'd like to see a bit more of him, and it lets him better.
Just before you go on, he's ineligible for this game. He can play for us in the groups, but because he played for Olympiacos in the qualifiers in Champions League, he can't play in this round. So who are you playing left back?
I see you passed the first test there. I tested you on your eligibility on the registration rules. You got me there, Gio. I suppose the solution would be to put Bayram into the left-back slot, or maybe even Ogbonna. I believe he can also do a job for us out on that front there too. But obviously, I'd like to see Reece Oxford and Reece Burke get some sort of involvement in the game.
Tom, do you agree with that? What back four are you hoping to see?
I was way ahead of you, actually, Jason, there. I knew about the eligibility with Masuaku, so I had already taken that into consideration. Bayram will have to play left-back, I think, unless he wants to stick Ogbonna out there, but I think the back two have to be Ogbonna and Reece Oxford. Reece Oxford plays so well against Domžale, and I think he'll play really well again against Astra. And I think we were all expecting potentially Ogbonna to start against Chelsea last night, but he didn't, so I am confident that he'll play against Astra. And then at right back, I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to go with Reece Burke to go in at right back. I think he needs to have some time in a first team, and what better place to do it? If Antonio goes in at right back, I won't even say anything, but I'll be silently pulling my hair out. But I think Reece Burke, deserves a little run out at right back. And red card or not, for Costa the other night, Adrian, I've said it time and time again. Randolph has to start, and I want Randolph to start on Thursday night, and it's the way it should be. No pussy or fanning around with the ball. Randolph starts.
Right, what about your midfield, Jason? I mean, this is where you've got to have questions where who's in front of your back four and who's behind the striker, because you need to rotate. I think you need to rotate, because not only are they playing on Thursday, they're then playing on Sunday in front of 55,000 West Ham United fans in the first ever Premier League game there. And because we've got beat at Stamford Bridge, I think there's a little bit of pressure on us against Bournemouth. While go the first 2 games without win in the Premier League isn't anything to get worried about, it does make the third game a bit more eyes on, which is a way to City and go, well, come on then, you really need to get some points on the board here, build some momentum. So Jason, what are you doing in your midfield on Thursday night, ideally?
Ideally, I'd like to see, I think Obiang's coming back from injury. I think he picked up a slight knock, if I do recall, hence why he's not really had much involvement. So I'd like to see him get some game time under his belt. I think he definitely has a point to prove to stay in Slaven Bilic's plans. As well as that, I guess Noble would have to give the nod. I'd rather keep Kouyaté fresh for coming into the Bournemouth game, and maybe introduce him late on as a sub to rampage up and down as he usually does.
What about Payet, Jason? Are you giving Payet the starting role to try and get him up to match sharpness, or are you going to keep him in cotton wool on the bench and need him if you need to, and try and get him against Bournemouth?
Ideally, I probably should start Payet. I definitely think he needs to keep his match fitness up. It gets him a little bit sharper, and if he can treat somewhat as a training game, we can wrap him in cotton wool, take him off at about the 60-minute mark, and bring on someone like Gurkan Toure. Mikel Antonio, so on and so forth. I feel as though they all need a bit more time to gel and blend together, because it is, with all these new signings that we have made, they still do need time to get the chemistry working together. I mean, failing that, I'd like to see Domingos Quina get a little bit of a run in along with Martin Samuelsson, and see what they go on from there, stick the kids on and give them a go.
Tom, your midfield, please.
I don't think he's going to change from what we saw at Chelsea. I do actually think he might just stick with the three midfielders, whether that be Nordveit taking a rest or Obiang coming in. I think Noble and Kouyaté do start because they started against Domjale the other week, and I think they'll start again on Thursday night. I think he's taking it seriously, and to bounce back from Monday night's loss, I think he has to play a strong team. And that means through playing Payet, I think, like Jason said, I think he needs 60 minutes or so just to get a little bit of sharpness. Just to get a bit match ready. And then on the other wing, I think honestly he drops Antonio for Thursday night. I don't think Antonio plays. I think that if he doesn't stick him in at right back, and I think genuinely what happened with Chelsea, that might be it for him playing at right back. We could be wrong. We've been wrong in the past about him going back there. But I think maybe Valencia or Gökhan Toure will get the start over on the right hand side, and maybe Valencia or Carroll through the middle. I'm not too sure, but I think he will go with the strongest possible lineup that he can get in for Thursday night.
Well, Tom, our very fragile striker played all 90 minutes against Chelsea. He is currently our only striker, unless you want to say Valencia or you use one of the younger ones in Fletcher Martinez. Sacco isn't registered unless there's been a change. Bilic does have until Wednesday night at midnight to make one change to his squad registration, and currently the squad registration includes Ayew, but it doesn't include Sacco, so he might decide to switch them after Ayew's injury after the Chelsea game. But Tom, who are you starting up front then? Are you taking a punt that Andy Carroll can play 3 games in the space of 7 days, or are you taking a gamble and throwing a kid in there?
It's an interesting question, because in Andy Carroll's mind, he's probably thinking, yes, I can play. Let me prove to you that I can play. But at the minute, we are low on the striker front, and it would be interesting if he would play. I mean, he went with Valencia in pre-season on the Austrian tour for a few games, so he could see Valencia again. You've actually reminded me, actually, that Sacco, now that Ayew's out, could play a part. It wouldn't surprise me if he did get stuck in, and he's been training for the last week. That's all down to Slav. He might get put in. We don't know just yet. But for me, with the way that Carroll has been the last few years, I think he has to sit on the bench for this one. I think he needs to be rested for Bournemouth, just not to go too hard too early. And it's the same for this game. I think if we can survive with Valencia up top for 90 minutes, especially if he played the way that he played against Chelsea, I think we could quite confidently. Because Valencia's the kind of player that could probably do well in Europe, but then be shocking in the Premier League. I hope so, because I don't want him to be used as that scapegoat, as he always is. But who knows who will go up front. I just think Carroll needs a break for this game.
He started to do okay, isn't he, Tom? Valencia started to, well, he's not, I wouldn't necessarily say he's on form, but he started to be not crap, to put it politely. He's just not been rubbish as recently in the last few games, has he?
No, do you know what? He's not been bad. And I said it about Emenike last year after the Blackburn performance. I mean, yourself and Gonzo, we discussed it, and we said that we didn't mind if Emenike put in 110%. He worked his socks off for the team, and you can't ask him to do much more than that, whether he was scoring or not. And I think that is the difference between him and Diafra Sakho. He will go out there and he will try, because it's not nice for a player to be laughed and jeered at and booed and used as a scapegoat. But he's played, like we said, a good 45 minutes. I don't want to say that he's in form, but he played the best 45 minutes we've seen him play for a long time, minus a few first touches. But we've come to expect that of him. But I'm hoping for his sake that he can pull it through and score on Thursday night.
Jason, you've been listening to us there. What are you doing up front? Are you taking a risk on Andy Carroll's body, or are you playing it safe with Andy and putting someone else up front?
Well, I suppose the medical team and the physios know how to manage Andy Carroll and his injury situation. I mean, given his record, if it means he has to take a day out of training midweek so he's fresh for the game, if Slaven thinks that's a valuable enough risk to go with it, then you've just got to put your trust in the man for the occasion. Failing that, I'd like to see, personally, I'd like to see Ashley Fletcher get a bit more of a run out. I was really impressed with him during the pre-season. He's got the similar sort of build to Andy Carroll, maybe not quite as filled out, but 6'4", very mobile, very agile. I'd like to see him get a nod as well. Maybe stake a claim to get on the subs bench for an upcoming game, such as the Bournemouth game, and maybe to see some more of Antonio Martinez as well. I mean, we hear rave reviews from him during his Valencia days as well, and maybe we've kept him under the radar purposefully to get him match fit and up to Premier League standard. But it would be exciting to see all these attacking options sort of bubble to the surface.
It's Fletcher I'd like to see. I mean, him and Martinez scored at the weekend. It's kind of no surprise they weren't on the bench against Chelsea when they both played for the development squad at the weekend against Stoke and they won 3-0. But I would like to see one of them going to go, just rest Andy Carroll. I wouldn't even take him on the bench. I'd probably leave him at home, to be honest. I'd probably leave Andy Carroll in England and say, look, you stay back there and you work on Bournemouth, please. Well, we'll have to look at Dumzali. We got beat in the first leg. And even though we were 2-1 down, everyone was really confident. Everyone knew we were going to win that second leg. When we did the review, we thought we're sitting here doing a 2-1 defeat, and we were kind of like, meh, we're just going to win the second leg. It's just going to happen. And I've almost got that sort of feeling about Astra in a way. I'll wait and judge them to see what I see on Thursday. But you just get a feeling that if we need to turn it on in the second leg, we can, and that's when you would use Andy Carroll in emergency situations. But I'd like to see the youngsters get a chance. We keep saying we need Europa League because we want to see the youngsters. Well, let's use the youngsters. There's no point sitting saying it, and then when we come to it, we go, oh yeah, well, let's play Carroll up front and Reed and Albon at the back and leave Burke and Oxford on the bench. Let's use the youngsters. But that's why we want European football, so we can see them. Tricky question, Tom. Would you take a draw right now in Astra?
I don't care what the result is, as long as we've got an away goal. I think we can come back from 2 goals. I would want to say 2 goals. I think we've got enough quality to come back from 2 goals. But if it's a draw, so what? We get an away goal. That's really all that matters with these away games. I think it actually benefits you playing away first because, like I said, if you get that away goal, you're confident going back home. You said, you were confident 2-1 loss. That was probably because we, A, had the quality, but B, we had that away goal. It becomes difficult if you don't have it. So yes, I would take a point. I'd shoot your hand off for a point. But whatever result happens, I'm confident going into the second leg.
Jason, what about yourself? Would you take a draw right now in Astra, or are you thinking, nah, surely we've got enough quality to go over there, win the first leg, and almost get the job done within 90 minutes?
I mean, my head says absolutely I take a draw, but my heart just sort of says we're going to go out there, we're going to give it a proper go, kill the game, so when we get to the Olympic Stadium, we can go 1-0 up and maybe just take our foot off the back pedal a little bit, maybe have a bit of fun, be a bit more, adventurous on that sort of front, get the crowd on side. But the away goal is just so precious, really. I mean, we go down 2-1, 2-2. We just need that one goal, and it's pretty much game, set, and match.
I would take a score draw. It's a bit like yourselves with away goal, so that when they come to the Olympic Stadium, they have to come out and play. They need to score or they're out, and come out and play open against us, and just hope that our ability shines through. But are you confident, Jason? Are you confident? Give us a score prediction for yourself then. Put your neck on the line. What we're going to do in Astra?
Well, as confident can be, but I always worry with the Europa League that they, as you said, with a card-happy ref, these teams know how to play the referee as well, so it could all sort of turn on a dime if they do some theatrics or some play acting to sort of get the ref to pull the card out of his back pocket. But if I had to put my neck out on the line, I would probably, I'd be happy with a 1-0 win to us, obviously.
Tom, what about yourself? Are you confident, or what's your score prediction for the game?
I think we bounce back from Chelsea, and I think it's going to be, again, one of those boring, like it was in Slovenia. I've one of them boring away games that is going to be, probably full of crap football. But I expect, I'm going to be semi-optimistic. I'm going to say 2-1. I do think they will score, but I do think we have enough quality to beat them. So I'm going to go 2-1. But it's almost like I'm questioning myself now. I've always said we need Europe to go into the next level to perform. But could it be a slight blessing in disguise with the injuries that we've got at the minute if we don't go through? Because I'm questioning us at the minute as a squad if we can go forward into the European competition. But I'll be confident. I'll say 2-1. I guess that'll be for another video. But 2-1.
Yeah. To be fair, it's a good question, really. We've had a wake-up call. We've got a really long list of injuries all of a sudden. One night at Stamford Bridge, and bang, our record signing looks like he could be out for a few weeks, and we're struggling for that attacking midfield there. We've got a striker who doesn't want to be here. Granted, he's working hard and training, but ultimately he's trying to leave. Got another one not good enough, and then that's our striking options done, apart from our fragile Andy Carroll. I'm going to go for 1-1, and I'll take that. I'll be happy with 1-1 as well, especially when you consider our schedule. We're placed Stamford Bridge Monday, Astra on Thursday, and then we've got Bournemouth at home on Sunday. I'll take that. I'm going to be a bit naughty. I almost think Sunday takes priority over Thursday. I've always been a big fan of Europa League, but when push comes to shove, I'm starting to think, what game would I rather win? Probably the Bournemouth one. But you at home, let us know what you're thinking. What game would you prefer to win? What do you think of the score prediction? What team do you want Bilic to see? Who do you want to see in goal? What about Oxford, Burke, Fletcher, Samuelson? Are you playing them? Let us know below in the YouTube comments, or you come on to our forum at hammerschat.com and interact with us three lovely people and many more West Ham fans. We'll be back Thursday night with a review straight after full time, regardless of the result. Hopefully it'll be a cheerier one than the Chelsea one we just did, which is on our channel. And make sure you subscribe to it. We've got a new show coming out on Friday night at 8:30. It'll be live. It's something we've never done before, so make sure you tune in. Don't miss it. Thank you for watching.